What is up, YouTube? Back in the YouTube video. We're here with a Extraction Legend Lost Sector guide, and this can be found for the Savathun's Throne World destination here. So if you have trouble finding it, go to your destinations tab, go to Savathun's Throne World, and spawn in at the Quagmire. And then pretty much when you spawn here, all you gotta do is go straight across, and you'll find it. It is like on the edge of the map pretty much, but there is things you can do to find it. Now, I'm assuming that if you're doing this, you do have access to the reveal thing or whatever it's called, the ability to use this right here. And you can see if you use this, you're going to reveal this. But let's say you don't have it for whatever reason, or you just don't want to use it. You can run here to this edge and just drop right here, and you can find that. But I do want to show you the other way just in case if you do want to use it. You can go here. And then all you have to do is reveal the path, and it'll just go there. This will pop up, and you just walk down. So now that we've addressed that, if you do not see this flag or icon here on your mini-map, that does mean you have to complete it normally. So what you have to do is go further inside here, and then make your way towards the extraction entrance. So you're going to see in a couple seconds, I am going to enter the Lost Sector. And it'll say extraction on the left side of the map, not the left side of the map, the left side of my screen. And then you're gonna see right here, extraction. You'll see some enemies. Run through, kill all the enemies, kill the boss at the end, loot the chest, and you'll unlock legend and master difficulty for this Lost Sector. And then after you complete it, you'll come back, and then you could farm it for legend and master difficulty. So you can see we're gonna go up here, and I'm gonna go over the modifiers now that we have active for today's Lost Sector. So you can see here, currently we have shielded foes. You'll face combatants with arc and void shields. Legend modifiers, lock loadout and extra shields. Equipment locked, limited revives. Overload and unstoppable champions. Arc threat, 25% increase to incoming arc damage. Raiders shield. Scorn raiders now have void shields. Then we have overcharged weapons. Weapon overcharges from the seasonal artifact are active in this activity. Kinetic weapons do increased damage when your subclass element matches an active surge. Then Strand Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing Strand damage. Then Arc Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing Arc damage. Overcharge Glaive, 25% bonus to Glaive damage. Now, if completed solo, Exotic Arms armor is rare. So if you do want the new exotics from this season, they are exotic arms. You can try to farm it, however, I wouldn't recommend this Lost Sector at all. Enhancement Core is uncommon and recommended power 1830. But 1810 and above, you should be just fine. So we're going to get into a loadout now, and then we'll get into the gameplay. So for the loadout, we're running Strand subclass, and we got Silk Strike with Marksman Dodge, Triple Jump, Threaded Spike, Threadling Grenades, Widow's Silk, Threaded Spectre. Then we have Thread of Generation, Thread of Evolution, Thread of Binding, and Thread of Continuity. Then for my first weapon here, we're running Riptide, and if you can get Chill Clip, preferably that's one of the better perks to have on it. That way it's going to slow the nearby targets and freeze them pretty much. And again, it's really good for AoE, for like a lot of AI that are next to each other, as well as many bosses and champions. And I'm mainly using the Fusion Rifle for Unstoppable Fusion Rifle for the Unstoppable Champions, so that's one reason why I have that there. Now for Le Monarch as my secondary, this has Intrinsic Overload Champion round, so it's going to stun the Overload Champions relatively easily. And this is one of the more reliable Overload, stunning ways to do it. It's always going to stun with the, first fully charged quiver, I guess, arrow shot you can call it, and it's really useful. I do have the Catalyst here, which has Unrelenting on it, which rapidly defeating targets triggers health regeneration, but it's super useful. And for Overload champions, it is pretty useful. It's only one Overload champion at the start of the Lost Sector, but still with the void damage it does with the corrosive poisonous arrow, whatever it's called, it does increase damage, and it's pretty useful. So take advantage of Le Monarch if you can. Then for my third weapon, Circular Logic, Strand LMG, and if you can get hatching on it, preferably one of the perks I recommend running. And it does have Nanotech Tracer Rockets as the origin trait, and that is something that is going to get a little bit of an increase due to a seasonal artifact mod that we have on that I'll get into later on. But just keep that in mind as well when it comes to when this weapon is going to be doing damage in the gameplay. But again, Strand is going to be doing increased damage here because of the active surge, so that's why I'm running Circular Logic. But the Void and Stasis will not be getting increased damage. If you were running a kinetic weapon, you would get increased damage, and if you're running an arc weapon, you would get increased damage. But you can see I'm not really using any of those. I'm just using other weapons, so I am losing out a little bit of extra damage, but however, it is pretty usable to get this Lost Sector done with. Now, when it gets to the armor, For the helmet, we have Ashes to Assets. You gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Then we have Void Siphon, Rapid Void Weapon, Final Blows, create an Orb of Power. And Strand Siphon, Rapid Strand Weapon, Final Blows, create an Orb of Power. Then we have another one. And you can see for the helmet, this is a seasonal artifact mod, the Void/Strand Dual Siphon, so I will talk about that later on. But we also have Harmonic Siphon, which is going to match whatever subclass element you have, and it'll make it, when you get Rapid Strand Weapon, Final Blows, it's going to create Orbs of Power. So that's why I have two of them, because Harmonic Siphon just matches whatever subclass you have and gives you a Siphon mod for it. So again, that's why I have two. And it is going to increase the potency of the orbs, I should say, as well. So when I'm getting kills with my LMG, I have more chances to generate orbs with that compared to my Le Monarch Void, weapon. So when it goes to the armor, Firepower, your grenade final blows create orbs of power. Then grenade kickstart, when your grenade energy is fully expended, you gain grenade energy. Then additionally, your armor charge is consumed and you gain additional grenade energy for each stack. Then we have fastball, which increases grenade throw distance. And just to show you, it's really not that important. You can see if I take it off, it's the only one that I have here that I can put on, so I just use it. For the chest armor, this is where I have my damage resistant mods on, and you can see I have 2 arc, 1 void. Make changes however you feel is necessary. There is solar damage present throughout the Lost Sector, more in the middle of the Lost Sector, I should say, in the second room, because of the Chieftains that spawn. The Scorn Chieftains are very annoying. They have arc shields, but then they're shooting you with solar weapons, and when you're trying to stand on those plates and capture it, makes it way more annoying. So I will mention that in the gameplay, but if you want, you can run 1 arc, 1 solar, 1 void, or you can run whatever other combination you want, 2 void, 1 arc. But I feel like 2 arc, 1 void is definitely okay here. I still found myself, obviously getting one shot due to the modifiers and everything like that, but just make adjustments wherever you feel like this is needed. Again, this is not the only mod / armor you can use. Make changes wherever you want. If you're more comfortable using something else, by all means go ahead and use it. But for the exotic, we're running Star Eater scales, as you can see from my leg armor. And what this has is the exotic perk Feast of Light, and it says pick up orbs of power to overcharge your super. So when you fill up your super bar, you can pick up to 4 extra orbs, and that will give you Feast of Light times 4, and that will help increase your damage output with your super. So there is a super kind of strategy, I guess you can say, when it comes to this Lost Sector. You can use it either in the middle, second room, or you can use it just for the boss like I did. Wherever you decide to use it, that's completely up to you. But you can see for the mods on it, we have Better Already. Your health begins to regenerate immediately after picking up an Orb of Power. Then Strand Weapon Surge. Strand weapons gain a small bonus to damage while you have an armor charge, and then your armor charge now decays over time. Then we have a Void Weapon Surge, which is the same thing as a Strand Weapon Surge, but just for void weapons. And again, you can see Strand Weapon that's going to take advantage of that is Circular Logic, and then my Void Weapon, the Monarch. So when I pick up orbs, I know these will do increased damage with these weapons. Now, let's say for example, you're not going to be using Le Monarch like I am, and you're going to be using Riptide, right? Go ahead and change Void Weapon Surge to Stasis Weapon Surge, and then when you use your Stasis, when you pick up an Orb of Power, it's going to be doing increased damage, right? So again, make adjustments wherever is needed for your playstyle to whatever weapon you feel like you're going to use, but that's just one thing I recommend. That way you're taking advantage of everything you really can for the loadout here. But then when it comes to the cloak, we have 2 time dilation mods with decaying armor charge has longer duration, and then Bomber, which reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. So those are the last couple mods that we have there. Then when it comes to the seasonal artifact, I'm just going to kind of go over everything that I have here. Number 1, Unstoppable Fusion Rifle. I like it more than Unstoppable Scout Rifle. As you can see, I was kind of testing it out, what I wanted to use and what I didn't want to use, and I recommend Unstoppable Fusion. Riptide makes it a little easier to manage and everything, especially with Fusion Rifles being, in my opinion, more reliable than Unstoppable. You have to wait and charge both of them up so you can start doing damage, but I think Fusion Rifle is just better, so that's why I'm running that one. Then when it comes to our second row here, we got the Void Strand Siphon combo. Again, this is what allows me to have the Void and Strand Siphon mods into one category, so that's why I have that. And then Origin Perk Specialization 1. This is just going to improve, as you can see it says, greatly improves the benefit provided by Nanotech Tracer Rockets among other, Origin traits. I use Circular Logic a lot. It's like my go-to heavy weapon for almost every activity, so I was like, you know what? I enjoy using it, and if I can get a boost in Nanotech Tracer Rockets, might as well use it, right? But that's going to do it for the second column. For the third one here, we have the Tangles, top one, and it says strand weapon final blows have a chance to generate a tangle. Again, we're going to be using circular logic, our strand weapon, to get a lot of kills on red health bar enemies. So we're going to be generating tangles when we get kills. And then when you pair that with stuff like Elemental Fury, when stunned champions take bonus damage from your abilities and Elemental Orb damage, you may throw a tangle at them and do increased damage. But you can also, refreshing pickups, picking up a tangle or Elemental Orb grants energy to your least powered ability. And then you pair that with something like Elemental Munitions, where combatant final blows with tangles or Elemental Orbs have a chance to drop special or heavy ammo. So you can see that's pretty much the main ones that I'm rocking. There's some good synergy here without having to do a whole lot. You're not really going out of your way to change your playstyle. You see a tangle, pick it up, try to get a kill, and you may or may not get heavy or special ammo. And just to point out, you can see I do have 11 out of the 12 artifact slots. So if you do have 12 out of 12, you will have one extra slot that you can pick. Just pick whatever you want, really. I just think these are the main ones you want to have. But with that being said, we're going to get straight into the gameplay now. So we're loading now into the Lost Sector, and for this first room here, this is where I recommend using Le Monarch if you're using the same weapons as me. It can be done a little faster if you use circular logic. However, I just prefer to save my heavy for the second room and the third room if I do have heavy left over. But you can see we're pretty much just going to worry about these Scorn enemies, and you can see the Stalkers, Snipers are the ones with the Void Shields, and you can see if you can get all these enemies next to each other and just use that Void damage to your advantage, it's very useful. But again, pretty easy. It can get pretty annoying, I'm not going to lie, especially when you're getting spammed by the Void damage as well as the Solar damage, and then you get the, Overload champion that spawns in, and they have those stupid, annoying abilities that allow you to get like tethered, and then the solar damage one, and then he makes enemies immune. That you can see the solar one right there. It's just super annoying, and I am not a big fan of the starting room or this Lost Sector in general. And one thing I also want to point out is that I am recording this, or I'm speaking over this in post-production and everything like that. So I do want to apologize for the construction noise that was in the background. To my knowledge, it's still in the background right now, and it's crazy how far away the construction is. And it's still popping up on my microphone. But you can see here, I'm trying to kill all the AI around and then deal with the Overload champion last. But you're going to see, as soon as I'm comfortable with everything, that's when I go for the Overload, use my LMG. And you can see I do enough damage to get him like half health. And then I'm going to stun him, and then do it again with the LMG. And I can hear the truck already moving, so it's like they wait until I start recording to keep making all of this noise, but it's whatever. Hopefully this isn't as loud as it was in the prior recording, but here you can see when you move on to the second room here, this is where I recommend you have your LMG ready to go, because this is where it gets really annoying, just because of how many AI are actually spawning in this Lost Sector. So you can see here, the main goal of this room is just to capture these plates. There's one here on the left side, is one in the upper middle, and then one on the right side, kind of straight across from this one. And you can see I'm waiting, I'm capturing it, I'm throwing a decoy down, that way I'm not taking too much damage. But you can see I'm also trying to kill that chieftain that just spawned in the back left. You can see the solar damage is really annoying, almost killed me here, had me one shot pretty much. But I get rid of the chieftain and I make my way back to the plate. Do know there's acolytes that can spawn behind you at these kind of walls that you see me looking at a second ago. And you can see my mini-map, there's enemies all around me. The ogre can, if you shoot at him, he will chase you over here and will try to kill you, so just keep that in mind. But you can see enemies were above me, enemies to my left, my right, everywhere pretty much. So that's me getting one plate, and that's why our decoy comes in so clutch here, is if you do want to kind of focus on it for a little bit, you can throw it down, let the AIs get distracted by that, and then capture the plate. But most of the time they'll just destroy it instantly, and then you're getting solar damage, void damage, and all that. So it can get pretty hectic. Here you can see 2 acolytes spawned as soon as I was going to walk away. And it's pretty much just trying to control ads while also not taking too much damage is pretty much the goal here. The fact that it took like 10 plus shots to kill that red health bar knight enemy is insane in this Lost Sector if you ask me. But you can see we're just making our way towards the next plate here. And you can go for the middle second one, but you can see here I got the Unstoppable Ogre's attention, stunned him with the fusion rifle, then used the LMG. And weird stuff started happening here with the knight throwing his immune shield down, kind of blocking it for the ogre. I was like, bro, am I about to die here? So I just held down on the trigger for the LMG and was like, get me out of here, you know. So I threw a decoy down just to be safe. Make sure if your decoy doesn't get shot at by enemies, you shoot at it yourself. That way you can get those threadlings to do some damage. But you can see I started by laying my feet on the, you know, little totem or plate, whatever you want to call it, just so the AI will spawn. And you can see that's what I was looking for, was a chieftain. So I believe he spawns on the right side or the middle. I could be wrong, but you can see get rid of him first because of that solar damage. That way when you're standing on the plate, he's not going to keep shooting at you that whole time. And you can see here I actually almost died. I was legitimately one shot. And it's just the AI are throwing nades. You're taking damage from everywhere. But you can see I'm starting to make my way towards that second plate. Once everything has calmed down just a little bit, but once you get on that plate and you hit a certain, you know, portion of, you know, capturing the plate, it is going to spawn more AI. As you can see, you're just always going to have to deal with them. I don't know who keeps sneaking this in at Bungie for the Lost Sector list, but please, for the love of God, get this Lost Sector out of here, please. But you can see that's the second one done. Now the third one is going to be on the right, and pretty much I'm just taking my time. It took me several tries before this to get a flawless, pretty much, you know, solo run. So I was like, I'm taking my time. I'm not trying to do this again. So you can see as you get on the plate, there's your third chieftain. And then I just used my LMG. I was like, this guy's just spamming solar damage at me. Get rid of him. And then I throw my decoy down just so they can focus on the decoy. And then I kind of distance myself from it. You can see I'm still getting shot at. And then I shoot it just so they can, the threadlings can go and get the enemies. And then here you can see after you get the third plate, the enemies are going to rally back to the middle and kind of stop you from, you know, going any further. But if you wanted to, you could have used your super in this room. I should have mentioned this earlier, but you could have used it against the ogre. But I just save it for the boss room just because when I get to the boss room, I just want the Lost Sector over. I don't want to spend any more time in it. So you can see I'm just picking off any AI, picking up any orbs. That way I can have my armor charges. That way my void and strand weapons will do increased damage. Here you can see there's going to be 3 more red health bar enemies. And this is where things can go south really fast. So you can see I was able to get some LMG ammo and special ammo, which is great. But you're going to have 2 unstoppable champions here. You're going to see them right there. There's one, and then you can see on the right and one on the left right next to them. They're kind of like holding hands. And you can see I'm just picking off red health bar enemies, but they're actually starting to push me. Now you can stun both with one shot. You're going to see it in a little bit, but I didn't know the second one was going to push at the same time. Okay, so this caught me off guard completely. I took out my fusion rifle. I was able to stun both with one shot. And you can see the micro rockets is doing increased damage here. You can see my strand weapon, you know, has the armor charge, so it's doing increased damage. Thankfully, I was able to deal with that the way I did. I'm not gonna lie, that caught me so off guard. I'm just happy I didn't die there because I would have been really upset. But now that you got rid of those 2 unstoppable champions, it's pretty easy to finish this out. You can see the AI were kind of just, I don't know what they were doing. They were just looking to the wall because I backed up. But feel free to use your tangles, or not your tangles, you can see there's a tangle there, but your threadling grenades, your melees, your decoys here. Because pretty much all you got to worry about is the final boss. I don't know why the boss wasn't pushing. Usually the boss is on the left or right side of the room, but they were just chilling up here. So I did waste some time on my super, but you can see I just spammed my light attack, destroy the ghost, and then after that there's just AI. And I'm pretty sure you don't even have to kill the AI. I just did it to show you that I did it, you know, type thing. So you can see here, I'm going to drop. And then we got some acolytes. There is cursed thrall, so be careful if you are going for like the solo flawless triumph and stuff like that. There is cursed thrall that may kill you. You can see I throw a threadling grenade and he just jumps up in front of me. But that's all the enemies. Watch out for the moths as well. As you can see, that did a good amount of damage even with 2 arc resistant mods on. We're gonna go up here and we're gonna open the chest. And we have gotten exotics every single day, so that's been pretty useful. But that's going to do it for the video. If you found it useful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell so you don't miss another YouTube video. A playlist with all my Season of the Witch Legend Lost Sector guides will be popping up on screen right now. Follow my Twitch, twitch.tv/MuckisJam0. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.